when that dog jumped through that window the first time. I mean, we all crapped. Don't tell me it didn't crap. Everybody crapped. And I think now with VR and stuff, it's so interactive. And right now, what we're getting in horror films is, so The Conjuring worked. So let's make 20 of those. And then, Paranormal Activity worked. So let's make 20 of those. And what properties do we own? Well, we own Friday the 13th. Okay, well, let's remake that. Because movies are so expensive now that you can't take a chance in the studio system. And that's why independent film is shining right now. It's like, it's so great to be independent. But, I have to put my producer's hat on and I say, okay, you've got $20 million. Are you going to put it in my film? Or are you going to put it into Friday the 13th, Part 20? Well, of course, if you want your money back and a big profit, you're going to put it into the corporate movie. And that's kind of sad. But I understand. I mean, it's tough. Financing is tough to get for films. I've been blessed. My movies all made their money back. And, the people always put their money back into another film, which is what you want as a filmmaker. You don't want them to say, okay, thanks for the treat, stupid, and then leave. It's like you want them to say, okay, you did a great job. I'm going to give you the money back. I want you to make another film, And I was lucky because I was able to do that with 2 companies that I co-founded. So we were able to do that. Yeah. CGI is perfect for background. Like I was saying, Michael Shelton, who directed Basement Jack for me, one of his movies was Exorcism of Emily Rose. When they shot a scene, it was in dead of summer. And the scene was supposed to take place during snowfall. So he had to take this barren farm and make it a winter wonderland. And you could not tell that it was CGI. He's an artist. I have to give him very high kudos. The guy is an artist with the digital pen. And like I said, he just did Mary Poppins Returns. So we were lucky to get him on Basement Jack. But I'm still not a fan of it as for characters. I mean, it's getting there, but if I could do it practical, I would rather do it practical. Favorite scary movie? My favorite movie of all time is Dawn of the Dead, the original. And it saddens me that I have to say the original. There's so many remakes, like this whole thing with the Halloween. What's up with that? Why are they doing that? And then they promised that Halloween was going to be 40 years later, and we were going to get resolution. Now they're making 2 more. And it's like, I don't know. My favorite scary movie, though. There's so many. Well, I get scared for different reasons. I mean, obviously, Jaws had a big influence on me. The Omen had me running home to look at the Bible. Oh, that can't be true. It's there. The Exorcist. I saw The Exorcist when I was in 6th grade. I screamed and yelled, and my parents, you gotta take me. Well, neither of them wanted to see it. So they dropped me off at the Mercury Theater, and I actually had to sneak in because they wouldn't sell me a ticket. So I had to sneak into the Mercury Theater, and I sat there, and people were freaking out all around me. I didn't see it. I didn't see why.
Yeah, dude, there's like a video on YouTube from back in the day where they were like all like crying and freaking out before they were going in and out of the theater to watch The Exorcist, and I'm like, what? Are we watching?
I mean, don't forget the scariest movie. Movies were. See, here's the thing about horror. Horror becomes popular, and horror excels in times of war. Because if you look at the Universal horror films, all really hit their stride during World War II, in the 40s, the 30s and the 40s. King Kong, all of those. And then when the Vietnam War was happening, you've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Night of the Living Dead. They're all mimicking what's happening in the real world with the war. And so now with Afghanistan and 9/11, you're getting more of these conspiracy, and restless spirit stories. So it's interesting, but yeah, in times of war, horror, because people need a release. There's too much going on, so they need to scream. It's healthy. So, yeah, I love you for loving it. The greatest thing that happens to me is when I go to conventions and I meet people, especially people who have like the Tasmanian Devil or the werewolf from Dog Soldiers tattooed on them. Like, I can't believe they did that. Like, why would you put that on your body? But I'm so glad that people, and I'm so glad people are still discovering Dog Soldiers. It was a tough movie to make, and I learned a lot from it, but I also learned the dark side of filmmaking. And, I put my job on the line. I remember we had just started the company for Dog Soldiers, and, or not Dog Soldiers, but we just started a company called Kismet, and I had read literally 300 scripts. I used to say, if there was ever an explosion, a nuclear explosion, I would never feel it because all the scripts that are on the wall, never would feel it. But it was like the 300th script I got Dog Soldier, and I believe it was called Night of the Werewolves at that time, and I know they were shopping it around for like 8 years. Nobody wanted it. And I could see why, because the original script started off really slow with, the soldiers at a bar talking about the footy, talking about their girlfriends, which I understand because that to the author was character development. But a horror film, you have to start off with a hook. And that's why we added the scene where the writer gets killed at the beginning with his girlfriend, because you need that. Ever since Jaws, that's horror 101. You've got to start with that thrill so the audience sits down, shuts up, and then and you can kind of show what's going on. But I remember we were sitting in an office, and one of the producers looked at me and they go, "Okay, we're gonna do Dog Soldiers, but if it fails, it's your job." And I put my job on the line for that movie, and I'm so glad I did. But it was tough. It was a tough. Personally, it was tough to make. What would you like to remake? Oh, I want to remake The Car so bad. Oh my God, I have such a good idea. But I think they did remake. There's a sequel out there.
What's it called?
The Car.
The Car? Is that
19
car that like runs people over? Not Christine.
Yeah. The kids on the bikes at the beginning, and the car runs them off the bridge. I love it. No, I really like The Car, but they made a really bad straight-to-video sequel recently. I think this year. I can't even watch it. I can't watch it. But I would love to remake The Car. I think that would be awesome. And if you haven't seen The Car, see it. It's one in a million kind of movie. Aren't we all just tired of them? I would do a fighting game with Hillary and Bill and Monica Lewinsky and Ken Starr and all those people.
Donald Trump could be an unlockable character, though.
No,
He's got to have little babies.
Don't get me started on that. I'll be audited. No, but I don't know. Zombie, Hillary, Bill Clinton in the 90s. I don't know. an alternate reality. Actually, that's not a bad idea as a movie. You know. I mean, listen, there's no bad ideas. It's the execution where it starts to suck. But I haven't never heard a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, jump scares for me are a necessary evil. Like, well, not so much anymore, but like female nudity. They're called genre expectations. So, audience expects certain things in a horror film. You know, and that's people tripping, people going the wrong way, being stupid, because that's suspense. It's sloppy suspense, if you ask me. But when it's done right, it works. When the car doesn't start, you know, that's all genre expectations. You know, it's suspense, so it's not going to go away. But if I use it, I try to be clever about it. Like in Cemetery Gates, I keep mentioning Cemetery Gates, but it's when he's chasing somebody, he trips. Like, you never see the guy trip. So I said, you know what? I want a guy to trip. You know, let's turn that on its ear. So anyway, but yeah, I have no problem with jump scares. What was the movie I just saw that had The Conjuring? I just watched. I'm behind. And when that ghost appears behind them or something, there was one scene, I jumped out of my seat, bumped my head. And I loved it. It was cheap, and I was like, oh, come on. But it got me, and it was fun. Oh, I love this series of films called Vampire. One's called Brighter in Darkness, and the other one's called Lucas Rising. I think it's on Amazon if anybody wants to check them out. But besides those two classic films, I like the Hammer films. I just watched Brides of Dracula the other day, and that film holds up. And I don't know why anyone hasn't remade that. That's a great one. As long as they don't sparkle, I'm happy.
That's both of us. I like Interview with a Vampire. That's always going to be my favorite.
Yeah, that's a great one too. I mean, it's hard to find a bad one. Well, maybe Twilight.
Yeah, that's extremely bad.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's something very just sexual about vampires, and very. I like, you know, vampires are, you know, they're the dark sexual release, you know, whereas werewolves are, you know, the beast within. And so I'm partial to werewolf films because I kind of like that animal being out of control, that curse, where Dracula or vampire movies are very romantic and, you know. Getting funded. Do you have a rich relative? Here's the thing. Here's what I found, and this is it's not a secret, but nobody ever does it, is that the key to all independent film is you got to hook up with a distributor. And a distributor will get you money because they can pre-sell your film just on a poster. I worked on a film, it was about Civil War zombies coming back. And they, just on the poster, they pre-sold Russia, Asian markets, Philippines. I mean, and so they pre-sold it and used that money, or we're going to use that money to make that movie. Something happened and it never got made, but that's just an example. So what you want to do is you want to get in bed with a distributor. Now here's the thing: distributors don't want one movie. They don't care that you made a zombie movie in your backyard with your 10 friends. They want to know that you're going to give them a library, because that's their job, to sell. There's so many markets. We are in such a great time right now. There's so many markets for horror There's look at the streaming services. There's Vudu, Shudder, Halloween Films, Movies Anywhere. And I could go on. I mean, there's so many markets, and all these markets have to be fed. So the distributor can get you money. Another way to get money is, well, I wish. I mean, if there was a magic way, I mean, everybody would be making movies. But you just got to have a really strong package. You have to have a really strong investment document that you can give to people, that they get it right away, that you show them that my movie has to be made and it's like the movies that went before. And so, you know, that's another thing. And a lot of it's luck and who you know. And truly that's what Hollywood is. A lot of luck, but absolutely who you know. Oh, okay. Well, that car ain't worth anything. Plus, I don't own the rights to the car. Universal owns it, so never gonna happen. But I'm happy making my own film, so maybe I'll make a car-like movie. It's like the car.
Well, I mean, it's pretty public domain. You got Christine too, and I think there's some other movies like vehicle manslaughtering
Yeah,
people.
I mean the idea. That's the thing. It's like titles. Like I remember for Evolution, I got this guy wrote this really horrible, mean review. It was like Evolution, too much going on. Like that's a bad thing. Okay, well whatever. And so I contacted him and I said, you know, I'm sorry you didn't like the film. I'd love to talk to you about why you didn't like it, because I'm very open that way. And I talked to the guy, and the reason that he gave it a bad review is that his friend wanted to make a movie called Evolution, and now he couldn't because I took the title. And I explained to him, I said, look, you can't copyright a title. I can make a movie called Jaws. As long as it's not about a great white shark terrorizing a summer resort town, I'm fine. I could make a movie called Gone with the Wind. You know, as long as it's not about the Civil War. I mean, those are classic movies, and you really wouldn't want those. But look at all the movies that have similar titles. You know, so I told the guy, I said, look, you could make Evolution. You know, in fact, there was a Ronnie James Dio song called Evolution before I made the movie. So, you know, I mean, you can do it. You don't need to, you know, be mad at me. But he never took the review down. Nightmare on Elm Street was okay. The first one was okay, and then it just got silly. Halloween. Well, Bill, didn't we watch it at your house? Didn't we go see that? Friday the 13th, though, I have to tell you, Friday the 13th, I love the series because the experience in the theater when we saw it was great. I was on a softball team. I don't know why. And we every Sunday we would play, and then we'd go see a movie. And then it came to my turn to pick the movie. So I wanted to see Friday the 13th. So one of the guys that came with us, it scared the shit out of him so bad. He was through the whole movie, he's jumping, Jesus, oh no, you know, and the audience was loving it. And then when the mother gets her ending, he's like, "Thank God that's over." And so we got up because he wanted to get the hell out of there. And somebody behind us goes, "Oh no, the movie's not over yet." What do you mean the movie's not over yet? No, the movie's not over yet. So, and then, you know, the whole leaping out of the lake. Oh, he lost his mind. It was the best experience I had watching the movie. When a Stranger Calls, you know, it's a classic. But if I have to pick one of those, I like Friday the 13th. Well, Vince